Welcome to the 210th episode of News Dump, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. I'm local man Aaron VanTuyl, joined as always by Chronicle executive editor Eric Schwartz. Cody Kristen is MIA.
Missing in action. He'll probably show up, though.
Yeah, we'll see. We're also joined in spirit by sponsors Summit Funding, Shalis Outfitters, and The Roof Doctor. And we know you're all waiting for our takes on the thing that happened last week, and we'll get to it. But before that,
we're talking about the shocking election results?
Any other preambles you want to get to?
The shocking big race everyone's talking about?
The big one.
The huge one?
The biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lewis County PUD. I didn't see that coming. You predicted Dave Fenn. I thought it was going to be Angie Brown.
A lot of people laughed at me.
They did.
For that specific
I was tormented
outcome.
that night by the results.
Mm-hmm.
They're still counting, though. I'm bad. We're not calling it until every race. Actually, we already called it.
Still a lot of votes out there.
Yeah, never mind. We did call that one.
Any other preambles you want to get to? What's going on around here? Kind of quiet.
What do you mean, kind of quiet?
I was down in the newsroom earlier, and I didn't see a lot going on.
Well, Emily's on vacation. The sports guys are off doing sports stuff. It does get a lot quieter here anytime Zach's out of the office, and he's in Natchez tonight, I think, covering a soccer game.
On Alaska I think they're playing Highland and Cowiche, maybe. Maybe they're playing Cowiche and Highland.
Maybe. We'll figure it out when it's on cronline.com, presumably later this evening.
Hopefully.
He's also covering, 2B volleyball the first half of the week?
1B, 2B volleyball on Wednesday and Thursday, starting with an 8 a.m. PL game in the 1B tournament. I can't remember who they play, but they play at 8 a.m.
So, yeah, that's why it's a little quiet down there. And plus, it's like 5 o'clock, so people go home.
Yeah, that's true.
State workers go home at like 2.
After
getting to work at like 11.
That's exactly how it works.
Starting work at 1.
It's true. We all go into work and
using the restroom at 1:30.
Take a communal nap, a siesta, if you will.
I know how it goes. Yesterday was Veterans Day. Did you celebrate by entering your fraudulent code for free services anywhere?
No, I didn't. I should have. After Owen gave me the green light, if you will.
I like how we have one veteran in our newsroom. Did
you make him work yesterday?
And he works like a dog every Veterans Day to make sure he can cover as many Veterans Day things as possible. I think he had the Veterans Memorial Museum yesterday, and then he wrote up the Congressional Medal of Honor family getting honored out in Alaska on Friday. So
yeah, we've got that on the list later.
He never complains about it. He's always happy to do it.
Yeah. All right, first news item. Lack of proper budget reporting and position turnover led to Tenino spending an estimated $1.3 million in restricted funds, the mayor says. Tenino Mayor Dave Watterson was at a meeting Saturday with the public to talk about this. Budget misreporting resulted in expenditures outpacing revenues by about $1.4 million. Going back to 2021, Watterson already called the auditor's office. The city was using dedicated sewer and water funds to pay other bills without authorization, so they'll have to reorganize their budget and separate these things out. Watterson said, all this money is in one pot, so when you look at our account, we have a bunch of money in one account, so it's easy to just keep writing checks if you're not keeping track. Who among us hasn't spent their utility money on other dedicated bills, like booze or escorts, things of that nature?
You, not me.
Yeah. So they have to pay themselves back, basically, for these ill-spent sewer funds. And then halfway through the story, I like this. It the POV shifts, and we get the city's history of sending money to various phishing scams, like this is the movie Gone Girl or something.
Yeah, I've always had big questions about that whole era, and there was like a state patrol issue. It all started, according to Owen's reporting, which is citing our archives, with Tenino Clerk Treasurer John Millard. They found about a $3,000 automated clearinghouse payment, and then they were like,
who among us?
The state auditor's office and state patrol was like, well, we should look into this. And this is in 2020, under the fog of the pandemic, as we'll get into later.
Yeah, I'll run through the highlights here.
Okay.
I'll jot them down.
400,000, though. I need to finish my thought.
Okay.
That's how many were sent to the clearinghouse.
So the guy that fell for that scam quit, and then the next accounting person decided they didn't like the commute from Hoquiam. Who could blame them? And then the next budget person didn't file any budget reports with the state and got fired in 2022. And then they hired an outside agency to handle the money. And this is a quote from Watterson. They were here for some time, and from what I understand, what they did made it even worse for our people to try to figure out what happened. Although it's worth asking, did the professional accounting agency make Tenino's finances worse, or did the people who've been bad at money for a few years react poorly to real accountants reviewing the books?
I don't know. It just seems like they didn't highlight any findings or anything. I think Watterson, as we'll get into, needs to get together with the former mayor and figure out what happened.
Yes, and then in January 2023, the city hired its current clerk treasurer, Jen Sharber. A lot of weight on her shoulders.
Yeah, and she's I don't know her super well, but I know her. I've interacted with her before, and she's been a delight. So I don't think any of this rests on her shoulders.
And then former Tenino mayor and News Dump guest Wayne Fournier had some word salad to explain his role in all this, in which he blamed the pandemic and the economy, and 9/11 and certain economic conditions, weather in Europe, things of that nature. All whilst explaining that everyone's broke.
Yeah, and it started in 2020. Just to be clear, Fournier was mayor then through 2023, and Watterson took over in 2024. So I don't think you can lay a whole lot of fault on his lap, though it didn't stop some counselors from trying during the previous meeting where they accused him of trying to defund the police. I understand one of those counselors who wrote a letter to the editor kind of blasting Watterson unduly, many would say, has since met up with him and apologized and kind of wanted to pull that off the record.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, it's in the story.
Anything else on Tenino and the no standing for no money left?
No, and while I have some misgivings about some of Wayne's statement, I appreciate him giving it in the middle of his election season for commissioner. And I would note that this seems to be a traveling show. We've seen it in Bucota, we've seen it in Centralia, we've seen it in Chehalis. The Olympian has some reporting at the Olympia. City is broke as well, $6 million deficit. Lewis County, your favorite, $3 million deficit. I'm sure we'll get into that. So it does seem to be a thing that's happening everywhere.
Yeah, it does.
It's almost as if a bunch of free money just was spent and not replaced.
Yes.
You know what this country needs? Another pandemic.
We
learned a lot the first time.
Your mic is
Oh, did I get muted?
there you go. You're back.
Well, my points carry nonetheless.
Your shouting came through, I think. Next story. Good for everyone, in quotes. Backers of sales tax for Lewis County and 911 in celebratory mood after measure passes. Elizabeth Cameron was kind of in charge of this push, said, quote, 911 doesn't belong to a political party, so we are excited about this being a lifeline for the community and an investment fund for the future. It's extremely important that we have an up-to-date communications center. The measure for this gained about 10 percentage points just by kind of getting out there and telling people how it really worked. I know that's how I got a somewhat better understanding of it. But this allows the county to start collecting a 0.2% sales tax to fund its 911 call center, a rate of 2 cents for every $10, which kind of ensures that visitors pay for this too, and not just the folks in Lewis County. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's awful, but I wouldn't have had too hard a time if the county just had to handle this like anyone else with a new one-time expense and sell some stuff off.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's a new one-time expense. This is the idea being that it'll upgrade technology.
The ongoing.
Yeah,
right?
And Thurston County passed a similar one last year that is funding a lot of their stuff. Derek Sanders, the sheriff up there, has credited it with why they're not in as dire of financial straits as perhaps Lewis County is. He commented on the Lewis County story about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Elizabeth Cameron, I actually wrote this one up. She came in here a couple of days after the election and just wanted to thank some people. And I will say that the former Centralia City Councilor, Elizabeth Cameron, has a delightful Scottish accent.
Oh, great.
Really good.
Mm-hmm. We should have gotten her on the podcast.
Did you vote on this and write it off to the sides when responding, please stay off my lawn?
Yes, I did.
And now if they ever respond in a fashion you don't agree with, are you going to shout at them, I'm paying for this?
Yeah. Yes, I will. Actually, I buy all my groceries in Thurston County now. Next item, Lewis County Commissioners to hold budget hearing ahead of formal approval. The meeting is Wednesday, which is tomorrow. The county's preliminary budget includes anticipated revenues of $179.6 million and expenditures of $196.5 million in 2025, a decrease of 7.8% in expenditures from the 2024 budget. This is mostly due to American Rescue Plan Act projects, which were one-time deals. They could see a structural deficit, which means an unstable situation if things don't improve. If held to the suggested budget numbers, the Lewis County Sheriff's Office faces a $1 million shortfall, which could result in cutting 8 full-time equivalent positions, which is not great. In a meeting on October 10th, Sheriff Rob Snaza said, "You're talking about taking away employees, and that's the only way we can handle the $1 million cut. At the end of the day, law enforcement services are necessary to be private in Lewis County." He continued, "And any day now, we're going to start providing them."
I was distracted there for a moment. I'm assuming you got to dig in on the sheriff's office.
I got a bit of a joke.
Oh, good. There you go.
When you're as bad at your job as the sheriff's office is threatening to do less really the checkmate you intended to be?
I mean, if you live out in a rural area and you're worried about crime, it would be.
The sheriff's office has managed to botch a murder so bad we've gotten more lawsuits out of it than arrests, stopped accepting inmates at the jail for a while, and hasn't been able to solve a murder in years. And they were the only department to get a budget increase the last time around, if I remember right.
I think you might be right there. I have to consult the archives.
And the time before that, the sheriff threw a huge fit in a public meeting when asked why they needed more money. Clearly, there's no way for a law enforcement agency to earn public trust or improve its standing among the taxpayers. No sheriff has ever been able to appeal to people through sheer determination, hard work, and public outreach. Am I right?
Sure. I think the budget also squeezes other departments aside from the sheriff's office.
Does, yeah.
So law enforcement's the biggest one. Juvenile court was one of the big ones where they pretty much said, we don't know what we'll do. There's no one else to really cut and continue having a juvenile court. So
yeah,
we'll see how it all shakes out. I know Mitchell's going to cover that meeting, and I like that they're having it, that they announced it, that the public can go ask some of the very same questions that you are asking. Why don't you go ask these questions? Ask them to the men and women themselves. No.
But yeah, my point stands. No sheriff has ever been able to appeal to the public through sheer determination and social media work. Next story. Charity basketball game between cops and firefighters raises nearly $7,000 for Shop with a Cop. And Derek Sanders was front and center, signing shoes and throwing them to the crowd, raffling them off, posing for pictures. Anyway, yeah, he was out there. I thought... This story cracked me up just by the way Reuben King covered it.
Yeah, Dylan Reuben King.
He had a couple game notes in there. I didn't realize Sanders played basketball at Tumwater, which means I probably covered a game he was in at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. This story was just the approach Reuben King took to covering it was cool.
It was highly competitive, though. I guess you'd assume it would be, but the lead photo, we didn't use it on Cronline's lead photo. The Envian lead photo is Derek Sanders just getting brutalized in the paint, trying to go up. And I think Dylan's cut line was something like Thurston County Sheriff Derek Sanders gets battered by several players on approach to the goal. And even his quote towards the end of the story, I thought was indicative of how competitive it must have been. He's like, the important thing is we're raising money for kids, but you could catch like the underlying theme of, damn it, we lost.
Yeah, and you look at the pictures. There's some big dudes in there.
Yeah, they were balling out. I think next year the Chronicle will cover this too. I was a little late to the game. I missed it in the NVN, our sister paper, and I was like, over the weekend I spotted it, and I was like, we get it in the Chronicle. It's a little late. I think the game was on November 2nd, but
yeah,
$7,000 raised looks like a good time. I want to know how much was paid for Derek Sanders' autographed shoes.
Yeah.
You don't get too much closer to getting called a bootlicker when you're buying a cop's shoes that are signed.
That's a good point. But yeah, that was cool. Next item, Winlock girl named state's rabbit lady wins award at American Rabbit Breeders Association in Kentucky.
This is the big story that really mattered in the election edition of the Chronicle.
7-year-old Jamie Snedden is the award winner here. Rabbit Lady is a title awarded to those in junior divisions who are not only successful rabbit breeders, but demonstrate extensive knowledge about the animals and are able to identify rabbits by breed. She competed in Kentucky alongside her mother, Natalie Merchant, and her aunt, Shannon Clevenger, during the 101st American Rabbit Breeders Association Convention, which ran from October 26th to October 30th. Is breeding rabbits that difficult?
I mean,
I've been told.
I don't know. Maybe part of it is keeping them, preventing them from becoming inbred.
Yeah,
maybe that's part of it. I don't know. It's a cool story, though. We haven't had a local rabbit lady of Washington before, though, so I wasn't about to ignore this important story.
It is a good story.
Especially on election nights. It's always on a Tuesday, and we have a Thursday print edition, so people care about the election, but not as much by Thursday usually. So I always try to find some stuff like this to cram in there, paste over top of the election stuff on Wednesday so we can get back to life as we know it.
Well, it is a cool story. It begs the question, why are they letting children learn how mammals breed? It seems like pure smut, and I, for one, hope some elected officials take up arms to prevent this poisoning of our young minds. Why don't they attend the rabbit abstinence convention instead?
That's a stretch. This was our second bit of hot rabbit content in the Chronicle's publication sphere this week. We also had Ridley's photos of I believe they're pygmy rabbits, little tiny rabbits over at Centralia.
Oh, yeah.
How long have those rabbits been there?
I don't remember ever seeing them over there, but I wasn't like keeping an eye out.
Kind of like a burrow,
my eyes
right
were
over
always
the
on
track.
the game.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're too cool for rabbits. I saw them over there at a girls' soccer game a few weeks ago, and I didn't know that they also had a spot under the track as well.
Are we sure these rabbits love each other and are committed relationships?
I don't know. I don't think so. There's a lot of them.
Somebody's got to be asking these questions,
These rabbits are getting around.
Yeah, you might get run into some trouble.
All roads lead back, don't they?
Yeah. In focus, we had a photo spread from Cody on progress at the Winco Foods in the Port of Centralia Station development, and also the United Learning Center. He did some drone flying.
I mean, I can neither confirm nor deny. Cody has very long arms. He's also has an innate ability to scale nearby buildings. It's like Spider-Man.
Yep, the photos were good. These things are definitely coming along.
Winco is at a point where you just show a picture of it and everybody loses their mind. They're really excited about it.
There's like 300 comments on a post of like a picture of Winco.
I was looking for something for Cody to do, to be honest with you, and it had been a couple of weeks. And we haven't got an official opening date yet, so I figure if I keep throwing this out there, eventually the port or the business will say when they plan to open.
Yeah.
I guess a contractor that's working on it said March maybe, but nothing official yet. So we'll see.
Still haven't announced, huh?
They haven't. I mean, the building's there if you still are on the conspiracy that Winco is not coming.
Maybe it's not a Winco.
You think it's a big fake out? The port
Maybe
doesn't actually have Winco?
They're just moving all the stuff from Yardbirds into there, and they're going to be like, look, it's just Yardbirds now.
Yeah, well, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be a sweet new location for Yardbirds.
I guess.
I saw somebody has like ribbons around the top of the old Yardbirds building now. Like trying to gussy up the joint.
It didn't do the job over there, huh?
It didn't do the job.
Oh, well. Next item. Shayless Baker competes on Food Network's Holiday Baking Championship. Now an experienced baker and owner of the White Whisk in Chehalis. White Whisk. Megan Knudsvig will appear on the network that inspired her to become a baker as one of 12 contestants on season 11 of the Holiday Baking Championship. Is that the one that...
Yeah, it's on the same network as Sweet Dough Cookie Co. Ashley Shire was on, which is noted in the story you did not read.
I read it. I pulled this quote out of there.
But it's a different show, I believe. She won the Christmas Cookie Challenge and then returned and won another event, another cookie-related event, whereas this is a holiday baking challenge.
All right. Well, I'm sure whatever she made is delicious.
Yeah, no, a great story. I was so happy to have our second Food Network star here.
This is something of a Food Network star hometown. What are they like? You know, for colleges they call them like tight end university, like Iowa. Chehalis, so like Baker Town.
Maybe I don't know.
That's a terrible.
I don't get it. No.
All right, next item. Downtown Centralia businesses speak out after JJ's To Go's refusal to cater to same-sex wedding. The Centralia Downtown Association posted a nice note about how they support not being aggressively shitty towards people. And then a bunch of other businesses like Centerville Cafe and the Shady Lady popped in with their notes of support for being inclusive downtown. And then JJ's Sports Bar added the funniest note, which was, please don't lump us in with those bigots.
You know, of all the problems you thought would arise from having two businesses named JJ's on the same street, no one had this on their bingo card.
You know, if you would have given me an hour to come up with scenarios, I think I could have gotten there.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, their Facebook post was, I mean, it wasn't meant to be funny, but it was, I chuckled at it. Just let it be known we are not that JJ's.
we are just
different
open.
JJ's. We had our grand opening last week.
Just come have some empanadas, for God's sake.
I guess they were getting a lot of negative reviews online.
Yeah.
Unduly.
Yeah.
You and I went there. It's a delightful place.
Yeah, it was very nice.
I liked
an
endorsement. We should get him as a podcast
we should.
Rep.
And I said at the time, but the gentlemen sitting at the bar at JJ's were much more knowledgeable about football.
They were.
Than the gentlemen sitting at the bar at O'Blarney's.
Oh, I'm not going to insult O'Blarney's publicly.
Yeah. So anyway, JJ said, we are a separate family-owned and community-focused establishment. Unfortunately, due to the confusion, we have been receiving negative reviews and messages, which we believe are intended for JJ's To Go.
They're forwarding them along.
I
believe these are yours.
It's been great to see local elected officials also going out of their way to dine at JJ's To Go after all this, just to remind the people in the district they represent that they hate the gays.
They hate the sin, Aaron. That's what the answer would be.
I think I feel like some of them have mixed feelings on the sin.
I don't think you and I
mean.
have a whole lot of like different topics. I'm just saying that would be how the response was.
Sure. The story also has some context of the illegality of all this and a recap of some of the online reactions. One line from the story, or one Facebook user wrote, "The vast majority of the negative reviews are written by dishonest people who have never been to JJ's and simply disagree with his moral views. The food is amazing and I will for sure be going back. I like that this guy supports JJ's so much he gives it the wrong name and refers to the business as a he when it's owned by two women. Clearly a repeat customer."
Someone in the newsroom noted the comparison to Spiffy's because there was protests over there at JJ's last week. And Spiffy's was going to live forever serving during the pandemic because they had hundreds of protesters there in their favor.
Waving guns around at Nightcrawler.
We talked about that last week, though. Yeah. They did wave around guns at Nightcrawler.
Yeah, they did. People forget what a wild time that was.
Yeah. Our permission was revoked from being there. We were punished.
A public parking lot.
I never got that. When you have a protest, generally it's because you want some sort of attention, but not in that case.
Not like that, no.
They just wanted to shout into the pie.
Yeah, they sold so much pie, they quit.
Yeah.
Anything else, or do you want to kick it to an ad?
Well, let's kick it to an ad.
Hi, this is Jeff and Julie from Fairway Lanes.
Jeff and I met JSIC of Summit Funding at our bowling center, so when we fell in love with this community and it was time to relocate, we knew we would be calling Summit Funding.
They understand that everyone has a unique situation when buying a home.
He had already helped 2 of our employees get into their own homes. The Summit Funding team exceeded our expectations. It was a seamless experience with great communication from his whole team.
Thank you to Summit Funding for making our buying experience special and memorable.
All right, we're back. It's time for segments, and first up is Tales from the Takes page, a tab on cronline.com. I have not clicked lately. Got anything I should know?
For what now? Sorry, I was distracted. I was looking at the deals on Shales Outfitters, waiting to see what we're going to say there. Are we on Tales from the Takes page?
Oh, we can talk Shales Outfitters. Let's talk Shales Outfitters.
Shales Outfitters has a lot going on. They've got yet another series of ads that'll be in tomorrow's edition of the Chronicle, or Thursday's edition, excuse me. So you're going to want to pick those up. Their Veterans Day sale continues through tomorrow. And that's 20% off all regular priced items for veterans and a lot of the gear we talked about last week as well. It's, you know how you say you go to Taco Bell every once in a while just to see what those freaks are up to?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to go to the Shales Outfitters page and see what they're doing. Let's see. We've got new for the Little Explorers. They're excited to release the Extra Tufts in fun colors. They've got light pink, light blue. These are boots for children. They're quite cute. I could see myself getting some for my kids.
That's pretty sweet.
Old St. Nick is going to be at Shales Outfitters here pretty soon, starting on Black Friday from 9 to 11 a.m. They posted a full schedule where you can come pose with Santa and get pictures taken. They encourage you to bring your pets, bring your children, your creepy uncle, whoever you want to bring to get a picture of with Santa. Like we say, the last year or so, we should go this year for our news dump upgrade for holiday edition. We'll bring Cody along.
We can take Cody.
And tell Cody he can have anything in the store he likes under $10.
He can dress like an elf.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And they'll be there all through the month of December, off and on, 7th and the 8th, 11th, 14th, 15th, 18th, 21st. You can go to their Facebook page and see all of that. And then, like I said, pick up a Thursday edition of the Chronicle or go to the Shales Outfitters Facebook page or website, and you will see a whole new slate of deals. I imagine it's a Thanksgiving sale, maybe a holiday sale. Who knows? They're crazy over there. You never know what they're up to.
All right. Do you have any takes page? A fodder for me? I see we've got something on the Boeing labor deal.
My favorite thing in the opinion section this week has been Julie McDonald's column, A Saturday Surrounded by History and Those Who Lived It. She did a book signing, kind of like a non-traditional book signing, because the people signing the books were the people she has written about. I'm sure she was signing as well. But she had this exchange, which I enjoyed. James Stafford, an Adna sculptor, strode over to introduce himself to Doris Beer, who was seated at one of the 3 tables set up in the shape of a horseshoe. I remember when you were born, Beard told him. Now, I find that hard to believe, Stafford responded. I'm 87. Well, I'm 97, Beer responded. Doris Hastings of Adna. Now, Beer, I knew all the Staffords. Your Aunt Dora taught me in 1st grade. I knew you before you were born. I attended your baby shower. Just getting owned. Doris Beer, 97 years old, one of the last remaining Rosie the Riveters who worked for Boeing during World War II as a teenager. So it was nice to see that. It was a really good piece by Julie. Not hard hitting or anything, but just a nice, fun slice of life thing. You mentioned the Boeing labor deal. That was a Association of Washington Business director piece. Chris Johnson wrote that. Let's hope Boeing labor deal marks the start of a new phase of manufacturing growth. I read today Boeing has some pretty heavy layoffs coming after closing out that deal. Mm-hmm. This was an online-only joint, but Danny Westneat from the Seattle Times, we picked up one of his columns. Whispers from Southwest Washington hint how Democrats went wrong in this election. And he kind of writes about how Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez was criticized by the Democrats on several notes, some even saying we need to get rid of her. And then she was one of the very few to come out of come out of contested races against MAGA candidates and win. And his takeaway is maybe the Democrats should do more of what she's doing.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I think a genius made that point to you just recently.
Uh-huh.
This one you'll appreciate. The voters have spoken. Now let's get to work. John Braun.
How did his initiatives do?
They did poorly.
Oh.
They weren't his initiatives. They were Republican
you could have
initiatives.
fooled me with his weekly column.
Yeah, there's a line in here. Then there was the news media. Too often it was guilty of, quote, underperforming, to use a term frequently used in the election night coverage of the presidential
race. He has a regular column. He's part of the news media.
The role of the news media includes fact-checking campaigns to claim... Yeah, I thought the same thing. But I don't think he was talking about the Chronicle's opinion page that he's writing for.
I would like to clarify.
Though I wouldn't mind either way.
I bust on John Braun a lot. I don't think he's particularly terrible as far as a politician goes.
As far as Republicans go, is what you mean.
Yeah, I just find his column to be a little much.
Yeah, it's
a little tone deaf at times.
A little. We'll have a letter to that effect in Thursday's edition. From
Should have one in every edition.
Doesn't appreciate it. I got a letter that said we're leaning too far to the right by a former Chronicle employee, and then I subsequently got another one from the left saying that. From the right saying we're too far to the left and that we've picked sides clearly in this election. They're both right in their own way.
Do you want to talk about Chad's column about?
We'll have coverage of that. Chad's imploring people to come out to a Centralia school board meeting.
We actually have coverage of that meeting. Do you want to hold on?
You know context? Okay.
And I say smut and filth like this has no place in our schools.
A great motion picture.
Did you pick it up already?
I'd like these herping.
Mrs. Kesenick, that book you're waving about is hardly smut. It is considered by many critics to be the classic novel about the 1960s.
It's pornography!
No.
We'll just cut it off there. But yeah,
it's a great scene, though. I was going to let you ride that all the way through. But yeah, Centralia School District has a board meeting on Thursday, and apparently there's going to be some folks there who are unhappy with some books that were sent home, and we'll have full reporting on it. I don't feel like we need to dive too deep into it at this point.
Yeah, I don't either. The book allegedly, contains scenes of masturbation, which nothing ever should contain descriptions of that. Anyway, moving on to Siren's Banger of the Week, we've got police. Cowlitz County man breaks into home, performs sexual act in front of owner. A Longview man is accused of breaking into a residence where he reportedly masturbated and threatened two people. How can you, sir, in good faith, publish this in your newspaper?
It's a daily news story.
Freak, you pervert.
I mean, your point is seen there. I get you.
Anyway, People's Champion of the Week, we've got Cowlitz County man breaks into home.
No, come on, no. That would be terrifying. That was a horrible ordeal for that homeowner. Can you imagine? I mean, the worst part of that story is it says he tackled him and held him down until the cops got there. Could have been comfortable.
He didn't just get out.
I'm sure they tried that. I'm sure it wasn't his first resort.
This guy's masturbating in front of me. My last resort is, full body contact.
I mean, he's pretty lucky he didn't get shot. Both of them.
That's what I was.
I saw your joke going there. I was going to get it out before you could.
All right, the real People's Champion of the Week. I've got Morton School Board receiving a Board of Distinction Award. 37 boards received this honor. I could have done with a list of the school board members.
That's a good
Should have
idea.
been on there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And
especially since they were our only local board to make this list.
Yeah. 37 school boards there's 300 school districts, 250, 300
Yeah, there's
in the
a
state.
lot.
And then the other one, on Alaska Medal of Recipients, Medal of Honor Recipients Family honored during school assembly. This is the late Thomas Jim Kinsman, an Ani graduate. threw his body on a grenade during the Vietnam War. I think this is probably more deserving than anybody else we've mentioned.
Yeah, I would say just that whole story. It was the Onalaska Honor Society that pulled that whole event together, and they reached out to us, the president. We've got photos of the president in there. Reached out early and often, made sure we were covering it, and it was just a great organization job by the Honor Society. And so I'd say the family, kinsmen, the students, all of them. I think that's worthy. And just to follow up, the board of directors for the Morton School District are Pat Saldana, board chair, Clint Scogan, vice chair, and then Scott Coleman, Shelley Harbaugh, and Wes Noel.
Okay.
At least if this website has been updated.
I'm sure it has.
Man, Morton School District, home of the Timberwolves. Huskies returning 7/1/2026. They can't wait.
I don't know how that's going to go.
I
That'll
don't
be
either.
interesting.
I don't either. We'll see. We weep for White Pass in that situation. Like, will they have enough kids to even have a team?
When they combined, White Pass was the bigger of the two schools.
Really?
Yeah,
I guess
White
that makes
Pass
sense.
was playing like 2B football, maybe even like higher class. Yeah, White Pass was playing a higher classification, and then they combined and they pulled in Morton, which was playing 8
How many years have they been together?
Let's see, I want to say 2010.
So they're not
That
going to be able to
fall.
just go and pull the helmets with the proper logos from 2010 and just mount up for their 2026 campaign.
I doubt it.
We'll
Yeah,
have to
because it
look
would have
into
been, let's see, I think like the second or third year they had a football team. They started their run of making the championship 3 years in a row, and that was 2012 to 2014. So 2010 or 11 would have been their first combined football program year. They did football together for 1 year as kind of a test out, and then they went all in for other stuff the next year, I think was how it went.
Very well.
One other Sirens banger of the week. Jeffrey Richter of Centralia was arrested, cited in trespass from a business on South Tower Saturday for allegedly stealing alcohol, butane, and a fruit popsicle from a store.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most embarrassing thing to get caught stealing?
I don't know. Cosmetics when you were voted Miss...
Well, this is...
what was
true.
that? Miss Congeniality and getting caught stolen cosmetics
yeah,
the night
that
before is pretty bad. There's many things that would be pretty embarrassing to steal, I would think.
Do you think the popsicle was still frozen when the cops showed up?
I don't know. And I also wondered if he had some sort of nefarious plan that combined all of the stolen elements.
Heat up that popsicle, melt it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll never know.
Either.
It's hard to get inside the criminal mind.
Yeah. You want to talk about the roof doctor?
I always want to talk about the
Is your roof under the weather?
It is going to be tonight. It's going to be super stormy tonight, according to the National Weather Service, though I have my doubts.
The roof doctor might be getting
Experts,
some...
you know what I mean?
Might be getting some business tomorrow. I see what you're doing there. Roof Doctor might be getting some business tomorrow, so get in while the getting's good and log on to theroofdoctor.com. Get yourself a free estimate. Maybe schedule a repair for, if you already know your roof is in rough shape and you can feel this windstorm coming on or whatever is going on, maybe just get in there now. Start talking to their little AI assistant.
Yeah, get into the
See what he
front of the
says.
line. I agree. Maybe throw up a positive review before you even get your roof.
Yeah, the roof services they offer include new roofing and re-roofing, roof repair, roof cleaning, and emergency roofing. If your entire roof blows off, it happens, people.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, I've seen the film Twisters.
Have you gotten a call from your property management firm passing along kudos from the resident of your rental about the quality of its roof since
My
had the roof
phone
doctor
has
come
not
out?
stopped ringing.
Just in amazement.
Yes.
What
What a roof.
so dry.
What a roof.
This roof's doing too good of a job.
Sir, can we drill a hole in the roof just to feel alive? And I said, no.
Can't do that. But if you did, the roof doctor would come out and fix it after giving you a free estimate.
Yeah, your roof can take a beating while protecting you and your family from the elements, from hailstorms, high winds, fallen trees, and tree limbs. Visit theroofdoctor.com or give them a call, 360-736-0246. Couple Facebook comments.
Sure, why not?
On some pics of deer, this commenter said, nice to see the Chronicle post about some deer that are actually alive after those endless images of the ones people have shot.
That's a popular take. Not as popular as the deer photos. People love the hunting highlights.
I like the hunting highlights in there.
The numbers don't lie. I would say 90% of people love them, but that 10% really hates them.
Yeah,
I get it.
I don't hunt, but I don't have any qualms with hunting. Get out there and, shoot some live animals. What the hell?
The best one we had was from Clarence Lupo, who retired from the Mossy Rock Dam, Tacoma Power. He sent one in last week. He is I forget the name. He hunts with a hawk. So,
Really?
like, yeah, he takes
See,
his hawk
that's
out.
something I can get behind. Like,
and
that's pretty cool.
The hawk took down a rabbit, and then he caught the rabbit, and he equated it just because of, like, the type of game and things that we have here. He said that being a person, falconer, I think that's
Falconer,
the name.
yeah.
Being a falconer in Washington is a lot like being a deep-sea diver who lives in South Dakota. So... Clarence Lupo's the best. He used to send us all those sunrise photos from the dam.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good people.
Also, if you're hunting with a hawk, like, are you really hunting? Or are you just kind of letting the hawk do the hunting?
So you could say the same for a gun.
Yeah, that's true.
You release the bullet, you release the hawk, one way or the other.
What if you like aim the hawk at a rabbit, it goes and kills like a beaver or something?
Then you need to practice.
You do terrible aim. And then somebody commented on the Winco photos. I was just thinking, I haven't seen an update since yesterday.
Like the hunting photos, I will say you are in the minority, ma'am or sir, whoever commented
sir.
on this. And no, they're right, you know. But when you don't have an update, but you can go out and do like a visual thing, I think people appreciate that. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of people that are going to shop at Winco that don't drive by it every day.
What's coming up in the Thursday edition of the newspaper?
What is coming up in the Thursday edition of the
Or what do you
newspaper?
have in today's edition that maybe we haven't touched
Oh,
on?
no, that's fine. You can go get yourself a permit to get a Christmas tree in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest. That's open now.
That's cool.
We've got a sex offender notification if you live on 1000 block of South Tower Avenue. You're going to want to be aware, people. Shahales Middle School first term honor roll is out. Thank you to Karina Stanton over at the Shahales School District. We'll have something on a new giant flag being donated to WF West School District as well. I have to say my favorite communications hire in the past several years has been Karina Stanton over at the Shahales School District. She just does a remarkable job, and I think it's because she knows the media, the local media.
She does.
But she just does so much for us. We appreciate it.
I agree. She does a great job.
So we'll have that. A lot of what you've already discussed. There's a shuttered Winlock Catholic Church that is going to be reopening. That'll be our lead story probably for Thursday's edition. That's going to be coming from Mitchell. Let's see, what else do we got here? Veterans Day coverage. As I mentioned, Owen went over to the Veterans Memorial Museum. There was a speaker there talking about suicide and prevention. Obviously, suicide prevention for veterans. And then they gave out some quilts through the Quilts of Valor program. So we got some good Cody photos there. You just have a lot of good stuff. There's Chehalis and Centralia City Council. It happens once in a blue moon. Both had meetings tonight. So Owen is covering both of those. We'll have some coverage from each of those. Mm-hmm. He learned that it costs $40,000 to replace 2 seats in a fire truck.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was in the agenda. He sent it to me. He was a bit surprised.
Yeah, that seems like a lot.
I feel like it's such a specialized thing that like you can pretty much charge whatever you want. But I don't know. Anyways, those are the highs and lows. There'll be more good stuff as well.
All right. I guess
How good of you to join us.
Getting back to basics, you know. We're sponsored by Summit Funding, Shayla's Outfitters, and the Roof Doctor. Leave a review and rating on Apple Podcast if you like. Or send us an email at chroniclenewsdump@gmail.com and let us know if there's anything we missed this week.
I was told we were going to talk about the election.
The what now?